What if I told you that the hardest moments of your life were never sent to destroy you? What if the pain you've carried, the disappointments you've endured, the failures you've questioned, and the battles you've fought were never signs that life was against you? What if they were preparing you for the strongest version of yourself? Think about that for a moment. Every challenge you've overcome has already proven something remarkable. You've survived days you once believed you couldn't survive. You've found strength you didn't know you possessed. You've continued moving forward when giving up would have seemed easier. And because of that, you are not the same person who entered those battles. You have changed. You have grown. You have become stronger. Throughout this audiobook, you're going to discover a powerful truth. Your greatest battles were never meant to define your limits. They were designed to reveal your potential. Every setback carried a lesson. Every obstacle carried an opportunity. Every storm carried the possibility of transformation. The question has never been, why did this happen to me? The better question is, who did this help me become? Because the meaning you assign to your struggles determines the power they have over your future. Pain can become a prison, or it can become preparation. Confidence isn't built by avoiding difficulty. It's built by walking through it. Strength isn't something you're given. It's something you earn. And every chapter of this journey will show you how to stop surviving your past and start using the strength it created. As you listen, I invite you to keep an open mind. Allow yourself to recognize the person you've become. Reflect on the battles you've already won, and begin seeing every future obstacle as another opportunity to discover just how powerful you really are. Because your story is far from over. In many ways, it's just beginning. Now it's time to discover what your greatest battle has been preparing you to become. Thank you for subscribing and supporting our channel. Chapter 1. The battle was never meant to break you. Every challenge entered your life carrying a hidden assignment. Think about that for a moment. Not every assignment arrives wrapped in opportunity. Some arrive disguised as disappointment. Others arrive wearing the face of failure. Some introduce themselves as heartbreak, rejection, loss, uncertainty, or unexpected change. In those moments, it rarely feels like you're standing at the beginning of something meaningful. It feels as though life has suddenly become unfair. It feels as though the world has singled you out while everyone else continues moving forward without resistance. Most people have experienced moments like these. Perhaps you have. There may have been a season when everything seemed to fall apart at the same time. A relationship ended without warning. A career you invested years into suddenly disappeared. A dream you believed was finally becoming reality dissolved before your eyes. Maybe you prayed for answers that never seemed to arrive. Maybe you wondered why every step forward seemed to be followed by 2 steps backward. If you've ever asked yourself, why is this happening to me? Then you've asked one of the most common questions in the human experience. But what if that question has been leading you in the wrong direction? What if the better question isn't, why is this happening to me? What if the better question is, what is this preparing me for? That single shift changes everything. Because preparation feels very different from punishment. Punishment tells you that something is wrong with you. Preparation tells you that something greater is being built within you. The same experience can either become a prison or a classroom, depending on the meaning you assign to it. You may not have noticed this before, but the strongest people you've ever admired rarely became strong because life was easy. Strength almost always has a history. Confidence almost always has a story. Wisdom almost always carries scars. No one develops resilience by avoiding difficulty. Resilience is developed by walking through it. That realization alone has the power to change the way you remember your past. Imagine a blacksmith standing beside a blazing furnace. He takes an ordinary piece of steel and places it into intense heat. The temperature climbs higher and higher until the metal begins to glow. Then comes the hammer. Again and again, the steel is struck with tremendous force. Sparks fly into the air. The shape changes. The process repeats. If the steel could speak, it might believe it was being destroyed. It would feel unbearable heat, constant pressure, repeated impact. Yet the blacksmith sees something entirely different. He isn't destroying the steel. He's strengthening it. He sees what the steel cannot yet see. Its future, its purpose, its potential. Without the fire, it remains weak. Without the hammer, it never gains its shape. Without the pressure, it never becomes useful. The very process that appears destructive is the process creating its greatest strength. Perhaps your life has been more like that piece of steel than you realized. The moments you wanted to escape may have been shaping qualities you couldn't have developed any other way. Patience, humility, compassion, discipline, courage, persistence. None of these qualities grow comfortably. They grow through resistance. Pressure reveals potential. Resistance builds strength. The battle built the strength. Remember those words. The battle built the strength. Throughout this journey, you'll hear them again because they are more than a phrase. They are a perspective. They are a reminder that what felt like your greatest setback may actually become the foundation of your greatest success. Nature has been teaching this lesson for millions of years. A seed begins buried beneath darkness. Before it ever reaches sunlight, it must push through heavy soil. Every inch upward requires effort. Every layer of earth creates resistance. Yet the resistance isn't preventing the seed from becoming a tree. The resistance is developing the strength necessary to support the tree it will eventually become. If someone removed all the resistance, the roots would never grow deep enough to sustain future growth. Think about how often we ask life to remove the very experiences that are developing us. We ask for easier paths, fewer challenges, less uncertainty, less discomfort. But comfort has never been the greatest teacher. Growth has always lived just beyond it. Here is something strange about the human mind. We naturally assume that comfort means progress. Yet history repeatedly shows the opposite. Athletes become stronger by placing their muscles under controlled stress. Musicians improve by practicing through mistakes. Pilots gain confidence by learning to navigate turbulence. Entrepreneurs grow by solving problems that didn't exist yesterday. Parents discover patience only after countless exhausting days and sleepless nights. Every meaningful form of growth asks for something before it gives something. That something is usually discomfort. Not because discomfort is the goal, but because transformation requires change, and change almost always feels uncomfortable while it's happening. Pause for a moment. Can you remember a challenge that once felt impossible, but now feels like an important turning point in your life? Maybe at the time you couldn't understand why it happened. Maybe you wished it had never happened. Yet looking back now, can you see something it gave you? A new perspective, greater maturity, stronger boundaries, deeper empathy, more confidence, or perhaps the realization that you are capable of surviving far more than you once believed. If you can identify even one lesson, then you've already experienced the hidden assignment inside adversity. The assignment was never simply to survive. The assignment was to become someone new. That is one of life's greatest mysteries. Transformation often happens so gradually that we don't notice it until long after we've changed. It's like watching the sunrise. No single second seems dramatically different from the one before it. Yet suddenly the darkness is gone. Growth works the same way. You rarely notice yourself becoming stronger while you're carrying the weight. You recognize it only after you've set it down. The battle built the strength. Those words become even more powerful when you stop seeing your past as a collection of painful events and begin seeing it as a training ground. Because training doesn't always look impressive while it's happening. Sometimes it looks like repetition. Sometimes it looks like failure. Sometimes it looks like starting over. Sometimes it looks like waiting, and sometimes it looks exactly like the season you're trying to escape. Sometimes it looks exactly like the season you're trying to escape. And perhaps that's the most difficult lesson to accept. Because while you're living through the storm, it's almost impossible to believe the storm is serving you. All you can see are the dark clouds overhead. All you can feel is the uncertainty beneath your feet. You measure your life by what you've lost instead of what you're becoming. You compare your current chapter to someone else's highlight reel and quietly convince yourself that you've fallen behind. But life has never measured progress the way people do. People measure progress by visible results. Life measures progress by invisible transformation. One changes what you have, the other changes who you are. And if you had to choose between the two, the second will always have the greater impact. Because what you become determines what you are capable of creating. Think about that for a moment. There are people who receive success before they're prepared to sustain it. They achieve recognition before they've developed humility. They gain wealth before they've learned stewardship. They acquire influence before they've built character. The result is predictable. What arrives quickly often disappears just as quickly. Not because success is fragile, but because the person wasn't yet strong enough to carry it. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine someone whose character has been quietly developed over years of adversity. Someone who has learned patience when life demanded waiting. Someone who has learned courage because fear could no longer be avoided. Someone who has discovered gratitude after losing what they once took for granted. When success finally arrives for that person, it isn't merely an achievement. It's a responsibility they are now prepared to carry. Perhaps this is why some doors remain closed longer than we expect. Not because the opportunity isn't meant for us, but because we are still becoming the person who can walk through that door with wisdom instead of pride. That realization changes the way you think about waiting. Waiting is no longer wasted time. Waiting becomes preparation. Preparation becomes progress. Progress becomes transformation. And transformation changes everything. You may not have noticed this before, but some of the strongest people you've ever met carry an unusual sense of calm. It isn't because they've avoided hardship. It's because they've lived through enough hardship to stop believing that every obstacle is permanent. They understand something experience has taught them. Storms always move. Pain always changes. Seasons always shift. Nothing remains exactly as it is forever. That understanding creates a quiet confidence. Not loud confidence that demands attention. Not confidence built on appearances, but the kind of confidence that whispers, "I've been here before. I'll find my way again." That confidence cannot be purchased. It cannot be borrowed. It cannot be given. It can only be earned. And it is earned one challenge at a time. One difficult conversation, one unexpected setback, one disappointing outcome, one courageous decision, until one day you realize you have become someone your younger self would hardly recognize. There is another truth hiding beneath adversity that many people overlook. Difficult seasons reveal what easy seasons conceal. When life is comfortable, almost anyone can appear confident. Almost anyone can remain optimistic. Almost anyone can believe in themselves. But remove certainty. Introduce loss. Add pressure. Create disappointment. Now something deeper begins to appear. Character. Not the character you pretend to have. The character you actually possess. Pressure has a remarkable way of exposing what already exists beneath the surface. This is why adversity often feels so personal. It doesn't simply challenge your circumstances. It challenges your identity. It quietly asks questions that comfort never asks. Who are you when no one applauds? Who are you when your plans fall apart? Who are you when the outcome isn't guaranteed? Who are you when believing becomes more difficult than doubting? These are not questions designed to discourage you. They're questions designed to reveal you. Because hidden within every answer is another opportunity to grow. The battle built the strength. There it is again. Simple words. Yet every time you hear them, allow them to settle a little deeper. The battle built the strength. Not the comfort. Not the applause. Not the easy victories. The battle. Think about some of the people who have inspired generations. Inventors who failed hundreds of times before making a breakthrough. Athletes who lost championships before lifting trophies. Business owners whose first companies collapsed before building organizations that changed industries. Artists whose work was rejected repeatedly before the world recognized their brilliance. History often celebrates their victories. Rarely does it celebrate the years that created those victories. Yet those unseen years were the most important. Without them, the visible success would never have existed. Perhaps your unseen years are doing more than you realize. Perhaps this chapter of your life, the one that feels ordinary or difficult or uncertain, is quietly preparing the foundation for something you cannot yet imagine. That possibility should fill you with hope. Not because hope guarantees immediate results, but because hope changes how you walk through today's challenges. A person without hope sees obstacles. A person with hope sees opportunities hidden inside obstacles. The circumstances may be identical. The experience becomes completely different. Here's something fascinating about the human mind. Your brain constantly searches for evidence that supports what you already believe. If you believe every setback means failure, you'll find proof everywhere. If you believe every setback contains preparation, you'll begin noticing lessons that were always there. The event hasn't changed. Your interpretation has. And interpretation shapes emotion. Emotion influences action. Action creates results. Results reinforce belief. That cycle repeats again and again until you intentionally interrupt it. So what belief are you feeding? That question may be more important than any obstacle you're currently facing. Because beliefs become decisions. Decisions become habits. Habits become character. And character shapes destiny. Pause for a moment. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from now. The future version of you smiles with quiet confidence. Not because life became easier, but because you refused to stop growing. What do you think that future version would say about the battle you're fighting today? Would they tell you to quit? Or would they gently remind you that this very season became the reason you were able to accomplish everything that followed? Sometimes we need to borrow perspective from the future in order to find courage in the present. Because today's pain rarely introduces itself as tomorrow's strength. It disguises itself as inconvenience, as frustration, as disappointment, as delay. Yet time has a remarkable way of revealing what difficulty was accomplishing all along. And when that realization finally arrives, you no longer resent the fire. You become grateful for what the fire produced. The battle built the strength. And perhaps, the greatest strength it has built is only now beginning to reveal itself. And perhaps, the greatest strength it has built is only now beginning to reveal itself. One of the greatest misconceptions people have about growth is believing they will somehow feel stronger the moment they become stronger. But growth rarely announces itself. It doesn't send you a message saying, "Congratulations, you've reached a new level." Instead, it quietly changes the way you respond. The situation that once stole your peace no longer controls your emotions. The criticism that once shattered your confidence becomes information instead of identity. The setback that once convinced you to quit now becomes another problem to solve. The fear that once stopped you from taking the first step still whispers, but it no longer gets the final vote. That is how strength reveals itself. Not through dramatic moments, through ordinary decisions made differently. You may not have noticed this before, but every difficult season leaves behind something invisible. Not just memories, not just lessons. It leaves capacity. The capacity to remain calm when others panic. The capacity to lead when others hesitate. the capacity to believe when circumstances offer no evidence, the capacity to endure longer than your doubts expected. Capacity is one of life's greatest gifts because it determines how much responsibility, opportunity, influence, and success you can carry. Imagine pouring a gallon of water into a small cup. The cup overflows, not because the water is bad, but because the container is too small. Life works in remarkably similar ways. Sometimes the blessing isn't delayed. Sometimes the container is still expanding. That idea changes everything. Many people spend years asking life for greater opportunities while resisting the very experiences designed to increase their capacity. They ask for leadership but avoid responsibility. They ask for influence but resist discipline. They ask for abundance but refuse growth. Yet every meaningful blessing asks one question before it arrives. Can you carry me? Think about that for a moment. Perhaps life has never been withholding your future. Perhaps it has been preparing you to sustain it. Preparation doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes preparation feels repetitive. Sometimes it feels invisible. Sometimes it feels like you're making progress that no one else can see. But invisible growth has always preceded visible success. Consider a tree standing hundreds of feet above the ground. People admire its branches, its leaves, its beauty, its strength. Few people think about its roots. Yet the roots determine everything. Long before the tree reached toward the sky, it reached into the earth. Long before anyone admired its height, it developed its foundation. Storms do not create weak roots. Storms reveal whether the roots are deep enough. The same is true for us. Adversity doesn't create your character overnight. It reveals whether you've been developing it all along. And every time you choose integrity over convenience, discipline over distraction, hope over despair, growth over comfort, another root grows deeper. The battle built the strength. Those words are becoming more than encouragement now. They're becoming a lens through which you begin seeing your entire life. Imagine looking back over every difficult chapter you've experienced. The rejection that redirected you, the failure that humbled you, the delay that developed patience, the disappointment that revealed what truly mattered, the closed door that forced you toward the one you never would have considered. How many of those moments felt devastating while they were happening? Probably most of them. Yet how many eventually revealed a lesson you couldn't have learned any other way? Life has a remarkable pattern. It often makes sense looking backward, but it must be lived looking forward. That requires trust, not blind optimism, not pretending difficulties don't exist, but trusting that every experience can become useful if you're willing to learn from it. This is where many people become stuck. They keep reliving the event instead of extracting the lesson. The pain ends, but the story continues. The disappointment passes, but the identity remains. The storm moves on, but they continue carrying it within themselves. Here's something strange about the human mind. It doesn't simply remember experiences. It remembers the meaning attached to those experiences. If you tell yourself, "I failed," your mind searches for more evidence of failure. If instead you tell yourself, "I learned," your mind begins searching for opportunities to apply that lesson. The event remains unchanged, but your future changes completely. That is why meaning matters. Meaning becomes momentum. Momentum becomes direction. Direction becomes destiny. Pause for a moment. What battle have you continued carrying long after it ended? Not physically, mentally, emotionally. Perhaps someone else's opinion still echoes louder than your own. Perhaps one mistake still convinces you that you're incapable. Perhaps one season of loss has become the lens through which you interpret every new opportunity. Now imagine setting that weight down, not pretending it never happened, not denying the pain, but deciding that it will no longer define who you are becoming. How much lighter would you walk? How much bolder would you dream? How much differently would you approach tomorrow? Sometimes freedom isn't found in changing the past. Sometimes freedom is found in changing the relationship you have with the past. The battle built the strength, and strength has a purpose. Strength isn't given so we can admire it. It's given so we can use it. A bridge isn't built simply to stand. It's built to carry others safely across. Likewise, your resilience isn't valuable only because it helped you survive. It becomes truly meaningful when it helps someone else believe they can survive too. Think about the people who have encouraged you throughout your life. Perhaps they weren't the ones with perfect stories. Perhaps they were the ones who had overcome imperfect ones. Their credibility wasn't built by avoiding hardship. It was built by enduring it. Your story has that same potential. One day, your greatest battle may become someone else's greatest source of hope. One conversation, one act of kindness, one moment of honesty, one reminder that healing is possible. Never underestimate what your journey can mean to someone who is still standing where you once stood. The battle built the strength, and now that strength is becoming influence. Influence rooted in authenticity. Influence grounded in compassion. Influence earned through experience. But before you can use your strength to change someone else's life, you must first recognize it within your own. Because the strongest people are often the last to realize how far they've come. They keep comparing themselves to the destination instead of appreciating the distance they've already traveled. They forget that the person who once prayed to survive would be amazed by the person they've become today. Take another moment. Really let this sink in. You have already survived days you once believed would break you. You have already overcome obstacles that once looked impossible. You have already become stronger than a previous version of yourself ever imagined. If you've done it before, what makes you believe you cannot do it again? That question opens the door to our next discovery. Because if the battle creates strength, why do some people emerge from hardship transformed, while others remain trapped by the same experiences for decades? The answer has very little to do with the battle itself, and everything to do with the story they choose to tell about it. The battle built the strength. Now it's time to discover why the meaning you assign to your past determines the power your past has over your future.